So I'm going to make a new document, and we're just going to do something really, really simple so that you guys can get into it, and then you can work on those other projects that you have to do. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, basically we're just going to do like a bouncing ball, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can fit it in the window. And then I'm going to just create a symbol. And I'm going to go ahead and select this and modify, convert to symbol. We'll call it ball 1. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to go ahead and, not that it matters, but at this point I am going to put the registration towards the middle bottom of the ball because it's going to be bouncing. Now, you know that there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. We can do the motion guide, or we can do the motion tween. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the regular new motion tween that I showed you the other day in the video. So I'm going to start off the page right here. And then I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. So starting off the page, and I'm going to just come right here. Like I've only got one keyframe, and I'm going to go right here to insert motion tween. And remember, when we insert motion tween, it's going to highlight part of our timeline in that kind of mustardy color. So, or should have been, yeah. So there it is. Now, automatically, I can extend it out as far as I want. Like, let's go to 3 seconds. And remember that wherever your playhead is, like that's my frame 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and come here to frame 20. And I'm going to bounce it right here. And remember, I'm not creating keyframes. It's doing it on its own. So then I come here to frame 30 to get up here. Then I'm going to come to frame 40 to be back down here. I'm just moving by tens. Very simple. Down to here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll bounce off the page we'll make it go like it's losing its energy, right? So then I'm going to bounce back down here, and then it's off the page. And remember that now if we take a look at this, I didn't have to do a motion guide. I didn't have to do anything. Just using that motion tween, it sets it up. And remember that as long as I have my selection tool selected, I can hover near that line and I can change them. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little better. And I can change them to be arced more. So now it's going to bounce like this. So we're done with that. So now there's my animation. Now all I have to do is apply some sound. So I need to get the sound into my document. Just like we imported our Illustrator document to the library, you can go File, Import to Library, right? Or, and I think we found the other day that that could be problematic for some people because of the size of their screen. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag and drop it in. So I'm going to open up my library tab, and there's the ball that I made, the symbol. And so now I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and shoot, just as luck would have it, my Zoom thing is covering up my download folder. So just wait 1 second. So I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to go ahead and here's a song that I've downloaded. So I'm dragging and dropping it in, and there it is. And I've got, let's see, this sound effect. And again, if you're having problems with not being able to see, your whole screen or whatever, dragging and dropping works just fine. You can drag it and drop it from the desktop. And I'm going to quit this, cancel. because when I click download on that song, it's trying to open up iTunes. I never use iTunes on this computer, so that's why I was asking for my Adobe ID and stuff. Anyway, so now I have these in here, and just like if this was a movie clip, there'd be a play button. When I select this, and it gives me like the sound waves to show me the thing, I can I can preview the sounds. So this is not good. That's a cave, like dropping something into a cave sound. And this is the effect that I do want to use for the bouncing. So just a simple, all right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move my playhead over here to the first bounce. So that's where it's going to make contact pretty much. I see that it's floating above the ground. I get it. I can put a ground in anyways. So to put the sound effect, the easiest and most foolproof way is to make a new layer. And then you don't have to put a keyframe. Just have to put a regular empty frame, a blank keyframe, and right at the point where you want that sound to play. So I'm going to put a blank keyframe in there and then drag and drop, which is kind of counterintuitive, but I'm going to drag and drop it onto the stage. And so now this is what we're going to have. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to here. That's where it impacts. That's great. It's up in the air. The next impact is here. So I'm highlighting that on my layer 2, which is my sound effect layer, and I'll rename it in a second. And I'm going to hit another blank keyframe, and then I'm going to drag and drop it in here again. So now this is what we got. Okay. So now it's impacting there. So I'll need another blank keyframe, drag and drop in here. And let's see, up and down, it impacts there. So I'll need another blank keyframe, dragging and dropping. It doesn't matter where I'm dropping it. You notice I'm just dragging it and pulling it over here. And you can see the waveform right there. And then it's gone. So now we can play it. Okay, that's it. I'm going to go back and double click layer 2 and call it sounds. Now I'm going to put in the music. And this is where it gets a little more difficult, because the song that I've got is much longer than my animation, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put in a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and name it right now. We'll call it song. And I'm going to move my playhead back to here. And I'm going to go ahead and, again, you can't drag it to the timeline. You can't do that. I'm just dragging and dropping it onto the stage. So, and there it is. And now if we play, okay, not great. It just ends. But I mean, this is a demo. So now the question is, can we edit this song at all? Can we change it up? Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna show it to you with the, I'm gonna test the movie first. So I'm gonna test it in Animate, and hopefully you can hear it. I don't know if you guys can tell, but every time the animation looped, it added another song, and it was like off. So that's why once sounded okay, twice was like, what's going on? And then 3, it's like, oh, it's layering the sound, because even though our animation is only this long, it's gonna play the whole song basically. So here's what we're gonna do. If we click on this layer and we go to properties, we have something you haven't seen before. We have the sound properties, okay? And it tells you the name of the file, and how it's going to sync, like if it's just going to start, stop, stream, or whatever. Well, let's leave it on event for right now. But here's the main thing: we've got it on repeat, and what we can do is we can tell it to loop, right? And if it loops, it's going to loop over and over again. If it's on repeat, we can tell it how many times to repeat. Now, right now, it's only repeating once, okay? And you're going to say, well, then why did we hear it over and over again? Because under the syncing, which is right here, we have to tell it to be like a stream, right? We have to change it from event to stream. Now, unfortunately, this part isn't in the video that I have recorded already. So I'm going to do that again, just show you what I mean, because this you're going to have to do on your own. So I'm selecting the layer with the song on it. I'm going to properties, and I'm opening up the sound properties. Again, it tells us, what it is. And technically, I guess we could switch it right here to whatever. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to skip over effect for a second. Then we've got, we went from event to streaming, and we went from, originally it would have been, I think when it comes in, it's defaulted to loop. And so I'm putting it on repeat once. All right. So now let's see what happens. It's still not going to be good. I mean, spoiler alert. So I'm going to go to Control, Test and Animate. So with that, with those settings, the song is no longer layering on top of each other. Okay, so this is good. I'm going to go ahead and make sure, I'll grab a screen capture so that I can put that in the assignment of right here. Okay, so I'll put that in the assignment just so you have those settings. Now this is where it gets a little dicey, and I'll admit I don't have a lot of success with trying this, but we'll go ahead and give it a shot. So if we come here to the music layer and we want to do some effects on it, well, we can say, like right now there's no effects, but we can say fade in and fade out. So let's try fading in and see what it does. Okay. You probably can't hear it, but the music is just starting to come up here at the end of the song, because this is such a short clip and it's such a long song that it's not really fading in well. So what we have to do is we have to click on this little button right here, and we have to edit it. Okay, and it's going to give you, like, if you zoom out, that's basically the whole, well, this is basically the whole song. So really, and it's kind of tough to tell in scale, but if you look, like by the time it fades in, our animation is already over. So what we can do is I can, number one, I can move it forward a little bit in time using this center slider. But what I really want to do is I want to grab this edit point and move it back to here. And this seems like a really steep curve, but remember, we've got a really short clip. So let's see what that, well, we can hit play in here and see what it sounds like. So you probably can't tell, but it fades in for just a little bit. So let's see what happens. So that works. It fades in just a little bit at the beginning, and if I want to, all I have to do is select it and come back here, and I can edit it, and I can move it forward a little bit. Now the other question is, well, gosh, how do we, how do we end this thing? So if we come back over here to the end and we drag this little center bar to probably right about, actually, I don't know. I haven't done this. So it looks like if it fades in, it's probably to here, maybe. And then I can click on this line and I can put another edit node on there. So clicking on it, I can kind of do this. And there's a little bit of trial and error. I mean, it is like, it's time-based, but let's just see. Yeah, I'm not back far enough. I was going to say far enough, not back far enough. So let me go to my properties, edit this. Maybe I have to be all the way back here. Nope, still not far. I'm only going to do it one more time. And because I don't really care if you do this part, I'm just showing you that it can be done. So I'm going to move this way over here. I'm going to move this way over here and try to move this. To line it up. This is where it gets a little, I'm not going to lie to you, this is where it gets a little dicey. Oh, here's another thing I want to show you. Now, forget it. I mean, you can keep editing it. The main thing is I just didn't want it to loop. So there's that. And you can keep messing with it till you get it right. It's just, as I said, it would be better if in any other sound editor that you have or any other music editor that you have, if you like really wanted to have a song, you could like adjust the fade in and the fade out. Here it's really dicey. Oh, let me show you one thing that I did forget. I mean, I did it, but I didn't explain what I was doing. Here you've got a magnifying glass. You can zoom in on the timeline. So zoom in and zoom out. So let's see. If I keep coming over. You know, I'm curious. I'm going to go for broke here. Is it? I don't know if it's that short. Let me try one more time. Okay, now I'm in the right neighborhood. You see how it ends right there? I don't know if you guys can tell, but now the sound has ended. So that means I can come back here and do one more quick edit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. So now I have the ending is pretty much at the right place. I just got to move it this way. And I'm going to move all this over. Let's see what this does. Okay, so it is, I can adjust this, the length of it that way. All right, so pull this back to here. Pull this back to here. Pull this back to here. It faded out. I got it right. So anyways, you can see it's just a matter of like a little bit of trial and error. So now when I export this and I go to control test movie in Animate. that's it. So it's just a matter of playing with it and inserting that music for the specific project.